Hi there, welcome back to the second this series of videos on list comprehensions. In the first video, we've explained what list comprehension is and how to relate it with set build annotation in mathematics. In this video, I'd like to look at some examples of list comprehension or some implementation of list comprehension by working out some examples. Alright, so if you look at this part of the video, or this part of my Jupyter notebook, I try to explain the idea of list comprehension. So I say list comprehensions can make your code more readable and reduce the number of lines required to make a list structure. It also allows for you to create a modified list in a more efficient way than using append or remove methods multiple lines or multiple times. However, you should always take care and prioritize code readability. In the first example, we'll look at how to implement the for loop, traditionally, and how to also implement it with the list comprehension. So this is how you would code a normal for loop to return a list of all characters in the string called datafied. Here I have assigned the string to the name to a variable called name. Then I created an empty list, and with the for loop I loop through the name, append each character of the string into the list, and then print out. Let's see how that will return the output. So here's the output. So Python loop through the string, pick the first character, and append it to the empty list. Goes again, pick the second character, append it to the empty list, and at the end of the day, it prints out the list of characters that are contained in the string called datafied. Now the same code will be implemented using the list comprehension. So this code requires multiple, at least about 6 lines, 5 or 6 lines. But with the list comprehension, all you need is just one single line. This variable name that is defined outside and the print character list is not necessary. I can get the variable name and put into the list comprehension and just see just one line, we output the same result. I'll do that, but let me just run this. So here is how this list comprehension works, just like how it has been defined or described in the first video. Here we have the character list, and that is equal to character for character in name, all right, because name is defined as datafied. And then when you run this cell, you get the same output as above. Now if I want to make it more simplified, just one single line of code, all I need to do is just to type everything in here. Character for character in datafied. All right, once you do this character for character in just one single line of code and run this, and you have your output which contains the same list of characters in the string called datafied. So you see how powerful and useful list comprehension is. Now with this for loop that takes about 5 lines of code can be implemented in just one single line of code. Isn't this amazing? This is super amazing. And here is a summary of what's going on. Now the squared brackets tells us that the output will be a list, right? Now this list is saved into the character list variable. So that is what has been defined here. And the expression for character in name is a for loop that will iterate over each character in the string. Now in essence, we are returning a list, that is the character that's called list, containing of each character in the string called name. That is a code that has been implemented with the for loop and has also been implemented with list comprehension. So I believe with this simple example, you would always prefer to use list comprehension against using the for loop. All right, because of how lengthy or the number of lines of code that would be required to execute a simple task. Okay, let's see one more example here. Example 2. This is for conditional statements. Okay. Now, for this exercise, we want to know how many times the letter A appears in a sentence. Now, we can do this by creating a list comprehension that will iterate over the string, comparing each list item to A, and adding it to the list if item is equal to A. Is true. So if this comparison is true, then it adds to the list. Now this is how that is being achieved. I create my list, my underscore list as a variable name that contains the string called datafied data analytics academy. All right, and I am using list comprehension to pull each letter A from this string. Now here is the code. I said item for item in my list. If item equals A, that is, if item is same thing as A. Now let item be, replaced, or let item be populate the list. And when I print A, well, this is just extra print statements to let you see how A comes out, and adding an F string to see how many number of A's we have there. So we have A. So there are 8 A's in the string. 8 A's in the string. Can you see how list comprehension can be so awesome? All right. This is combining the list comprehension, the for loop in the list comprehension, with the conditional statement if. Okay, so this means that we begin to see how powerful the list comprehension can be when writing codes in a more compact and simplified way. Let's quickly explain how this code is being implemented. Here, the list comprehension loops over all characters in the list called my list, and then checks if character item is equal to A. So it checks if it is equal to A, adds this character item to the final list if the condition this is true. That is exactly how Python executes this code. Okay, now let's see how to applying functions to list items. All right, so this is what we want to do. In this case, we have lowercase lists, which contains datafied, Jupyter, Academy, and Python. Okay, what we want to do is we want to go through the items in this list, convert each item to uppercase. Now this is how that has been implemented with the list comprehension. So I said item.upper. Remember the upper method for a string. This upper method converts a string to uppercase. So item.upper for item in lowercase list. All right. And once you print this uppercase list, we'll see that it's going to return a list of the uppercase of each word in this list containing lowercase strings. So can you see isn't this awesome? This is super amazing. All right, now let's look at how to iterate over 2 lists simultaneously. We want to iterate over one list and another list. So we have 2 lists. I have list underscore A with the following numbers 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 6 7 9 11, and list underscore B with the following numbers 2 3 4 5 11. Okay, so I want to get the intersection of these 2 items or these 2 lists. So I say intersection equals A for A in list A, for B in list B, if A equals B. Can you see that? So I'll loop through A. This will go into list A, pick A in list A, and then pick B in list B. Now compare A and B. If they are equal, it will return A. If they are not equal, it won't return A. So this will loop through all the elements in A and compare them with elements in B. And with this, you are able to bring out the intersection between these 2 sets, even without using set intersection, the intersection method in set. And then we'll print out the intersection. Let's see how that goes. So we have the intersection to be 2 3 4 11. Awesome. As you can see, 2 is in list A and 2 is also in list B, which means it's qualified to be in the intersection. 3 is in list A, 3 also in list B, which means it qualifies to be in the intersection. 4 and 11 are all qualified to be in the intersection of list A and B. So this is other way to get the items that are common to two different or even multiple lists. All right, next, another example, the 5th example here is to look at if-else conditional statements. All right, so here I have a string which is assigned to the variable name called my string, and we have vowel letters which is assigned to the variable name called vowels. All right, next, the label. So what do I want to achieve here? I want to output vowel. I want to print out the word vowel if character is in vowels. So it will look through the vowel letters, these vowels letters. If character is a vowels, it will print out vowel. Now, if it's not a vowel, if the character is not in vowel, it will print out consonant. Now, where is it picking these characters from? For character in my string. So what Python does here, it goes into my string. Of course, the string assigned to the variable name called my string is datafied. So it picks the first character D, and then check if the character is in the list called vowels, right? If it's there, it will print out vowel. It won't print out the character, but it will print out the string vowel. Yep. Now, if it isn't, it prints out the string called consonant, and it does this for all the letters in datafied. So what we're expected to see is the number of the vowel letters contained in datafied. Okay, and then let's print the labels and see what we get there. So here we have consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. So now it prints vowel. In the first one, D is not a vowel letter, so it prints consonant instead. The second, A is a vowel letter, it gets vowel, then consonant, then vowel, then consonant, then vowel. So this is how to use the if-else statement within list comprehension. Okay, so as you can see, list comprehension is getting really super interesting. All right, next we can also have element-wise addition. We want to add two things. Yep. So this is where we're going to wrap this up for you take some exercises. Now I have two lists, list A and list B. I want to take the sum of the elements in this list, right? Now this is what is happening. We're pairing, we're zipping the elements in list A and B, zip A comma B. Now for I comma j in A comma zip of A comma B, so you're picking the pair of these elements 1 and 4, 2 and 5, 3 and 6. Then pairing, performing a kind of element-wise or pairwise addition. All right. So this performs pairwise addition. Now I plus j for I comma j in zip of A comma B. Now once we run this cell and print the elements in C, we should get 5, 7 and 9 as expected. So note that the zip function is to map the indices of multiple lists to each other so that they can be used in some way as you use them as single entity. Okay, so whenever you're working with two lists or two different types of lists, I want to get them to form a tuple, you can just zip those two lists together and use them to form whatever tuple you intend to create. Okay, so these are some of the amazing things you can do with list comprehension. Goes beyond this. Very soon, as we begin talking, once we get started with our data analytics, data cleaning, and data transformation processes, you would begin to see some other interesting application of list comprehensions. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you've learned a lot of things about list comprehension. Please go over this video again and again and ensure to practice the codes that you see therein. I'll see you again in the next one. Do have a wonderful day. Bye bye.